Jimmy, are you there? Is this Jim Norton?
It is, man. How are you?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Welcome to Ham Radio.
Hopefully Jimmy didn't hear me blubber all about him.
Okay.
How much I love him and shit.
I'm telling you, right?
I do love Jimmy Norton.
Oh, well, thank you.
Dude, you're one of my top 5 greatest comics ever.
Oh, thanks, man. Who are the other ones?
Carlin, who I actually got to meet before he died.
Oh, I thought it was Ed Norton.
Joe, I told you to be quiet.
All right.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear Jim because Joe's an asshole. Okay, what, Jim?
That's why I said I hope you met him before he died.
Yes,
it was
no.
weird to meet somebody 2 years after they dropped dead.
It was a little awkward with the shovel, but I still shook his hand. Who else on my list? I like Ron White is definitely one that I love.
I love Ron White. Ron White has one of my favorite jokes, talking about being fat. And then the doctor, someone asked me to touch my toes. The only way I'm going to touch my toes is someone cuts them off and hands them to him.
Yeah. That's definitely a Ron White joke. Fucking tater.
Yeah, Ron is really funny, man.
And see, I put you up there. Of course, Pryor, but Pryor, I never got to see him perform live.
You know what? I did. I saw him twice, but he was really fucking sick by then. He was really, once in the Westbury Music Center on Long Island and then once in L.A. at the Comedy Store. But he was so shocked by that point. You were just kind of going just to be in the room with him. It was really hard to watch.
That was during the MS? The last days with the MS?
Oh, yeah. He was deep into the MS by that point.
And see, but you still got to see him. I understand what you mean. Just being in the room is fucking an amazing feat.
Yeah, just being there was really great. So I'm glad I did it, even though it was kind of depressing.
And I guess Sam Kinison would be the fucking other one.
Yep, I got to see him a couple times too at Rascals in New Jersey, and we got to meet him one time because he actually came out. Like the young comics would do the bar area while the main room show was happening, and Kinison was headlining. So he came out and he talked to a couple of us afterwards for a few minutes. It was the only time I ever met him, but I was happy I got a chance to.
Nice. See, I see a lot of him and you. Minus the yelling and the screaming part, Jim. I get that, but I'm saying like you have a great thought process with your jokes.
Thank you.
That's the thing.
Thank you. I also envy his married life too. I love the fact that he was fucking banging 2 sisters. That's my favorite part about Kinison. He was a fat man who fucked hunk girls. That's really, really encouraging.
It's my dream. I'm trying to. See, you lost the weight. I'm trying to gain the weight and to get a coke habit going. I want to try to. I want to try to make it happen.
Well, how much do you weigh?
How much do I weigh? What the fuck am I, like 300 and something probably?
3 and
change.
Yeah,
you sound like a big guy. You sound like a big dude.
That would be the jowls and my breath and the heart stoppage throughout the interview.
Where are you guys?
We're in Staten Island. We have our own studio based out in Staten Island.
Oh, okay.
By the way, Jimmy Norton is here because he's promoting the SiriusXM Presents Jim Norton Mouthful of Shame tour. He's going to be at Helium Comedy Club from the 27th of October to the 30th of October, doing great performances. That's a great club, by the way, the Helium.
It is, man. I haven't done it in quite a few years, but it was always good when I did it. I mean, I did a theater in Philly already on this tour, but I'm just going back because my shoot date is now in December. So I'm just kind of doing a bunch of gigs to keep ready and to try material.
Where are you doing the next special?
I'm shooting in New York.
Oh, New York, all right. And do you have you have a place yet or no?
Oh, yeah. I think tickets are already gone.
Scareball Center?
You can go to my website. It's what's that?
Scareball Center? NYU?
Scareball, yeah.
All right, because that's...
I shot there once. I shot there years ago in 2006.
Which special did you shoot there?
The first HBO special, the half hour when I was really fucking fat. I look at pictures from that with my fat neck, and I was probably 40 pounds heavier than I am now. I was really disgusting.
Yeah, Monster Rain, right?
No, Monster Rain was 2007. This was the half hour I shot in 2006. And it was a Monster Rain. I had actually gotten into some kind of shape, so I got a girlfriend. But I was a fucking complete pig when I shot the half hour.
Oh, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, because he's wearing the, I remember, because he used to dress more like a fat guy because Jim was out of shape, but now he's in tremendous fucking shape because he totally lost a butt ton of weight. But
I'm better than I was, yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. But that's when he did because he does the joke that he wanted to duct tape a dildo between his two fat titties
That's right.
and blow his fucking brains out?
Yeah, on New Year's Eve, and tell him to tape a dildo between my tits and commit suicide. Yeah, that's an oldie but a goodie.
And that's like about the time when I started jumping, because I have to thank my friend who got me into you, because I wasn't a Opie and Anthony fan. I was definitely a Stern mark. This is before I ever went to broadcasting school and everything else. I was always a fan, but I was never an Opie and Anthony fan. And he's like, "No, dude, you got to fucking check out this guy. Jim Norton makes the show." And he was so fucking right, Jim. You are.
Oh, thank you.
You were definitely the unsung hero of the Opie and Anthony show. You're the one that brought it all together. And don't get me wrong, Anthony, fucking comedic timing, amazing. Opie,
amazing, yeah.
Opie held the fucking shit together to a certain extent. I mean, now it all imploded, but at one point it was together. But you were definitely the unsung hero. You're the guy that, and it was from that I learned. I'm like, we went to the Stress Factory to see you. And it was like, Danny and me say the same stupid line that you did. You did a joke about Elizabeth Taylor. And it was way back. And we literally, when we're bored or we look at each other and we'll just like have nothing else to say, we always just look at each other and say, "I want to knock your cancer wig into a muddy puddle."
That's right.
Yes.
That actually made it onto my CD.
And what the fuck? Yellow Justice or something?
Yellow Discipline. Yeah,
Yellow Discipline. It sticks in my head every time, because me and my one of my co-hosts, Danny, we will say that to each other like just periodically, like months will go by, but it's like I want to knock your cancer wig into a muddy puddle. Sticks with me because that's what your comedy sticks with people, because they're thought-provoking jokes. They're not just punchlines. That it's not like, oh, why did chicken cross the road kind of shit. It's shit that makes you think throughout the whole joke. And you laugh throughout the whole joke, because there's like certain parts that are just fucking really, really funny, and then there's stuff that makes you think, and then there's the payoff at the end. That's why you're one of my favorite comics. You're fucking brilliant. That's why
thank you, man. Thank you so much, man. That's really nice. I appreciate it.
That's why.
Yeah, there was. I hated her, because I thought that she was. I don't know why Liz Taylor annoyed me at one point. Now I don't really care about her, but I hated her back then for whatever reason. Probably I thought she was defending Michael Jackson too much.
I was going to say, really, Jim? You hated her? You hit it well.
I think so.
You totally just kept it inside. Jimmy didn't let it out so much. And then from that, I mean, don't get me wrong, then we went on to Monster Rain, and that story, let alone, I didn't know, I never heard the story on the air, because I wasn't a big Opie and Anthony fan. I mean, now, I'm definitely, I love all, Anthony's been on the show. I haven't completed the whole set. I said I had Anthony on. Now I have you. Now I have to have Opie on. But I mean, that's probably a fucking giant task. A task to have Opie on. But we'll see what happens.
We'll kidnap him.
Yeah.
It's probably not going to be as easier than than I'm saying.
I don't know. He and I haven't talked, so we don't talk.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Because the fans are asking me, and I got to ask you. Come on, what is going on behind the scenes? I know we all heard the giant fight that you guys had, and I know it wasn't a screaming match. And when I say giant fight, to us, it's like when we hear two guys that we actually give a shit about argue on the air, live on the air, where you pretty much told them, like, you're not going to fire me. I'll just walk away when my contract is up, and this, that, and the other thing, and then lo and behold, October, reared its ugly head. And now you are on the morning show with Sam Roberts. He's doing the afternoons, and we know that you guys didn't get along when you guys were doing the Opie and Jimmy, the Opie and Jimmy show. You guys didn't get along. So take me through that. What's going on with that, brother?
It was just like unspoken stuff. It wasn't like we were fighting every day, but it was just uncomfortable. I'd walk in and say good morning, and sometimes he'd say good morning, other times he wouldn't. We just didn't see eye to eye. So I fucking hated doing it, and I'm sure he did too. But I'm enjoying the radio show again, and I'm pretty sure he's enjoying his radio show. But we just don't talk at all. There's just nothing to say. What is it? I don't hate the guy at all, but we're done talking. maybe, I'm sure eventually we will. But, you know, you need a break. It's like any relationship when it breaks.
Oh, yeah.
You just want some time away from each other.
Well, that's why when we're on this show, we just yell at each other live on the air. We don't hold back.
Yeah, but the thing is this. He was always in a position above me, which, again, the Opie and Anthony show was there before I came along. So there's always the threat of arguing with someone who is in a position of power because they can cost you a lot of money by getting you fired,
right,
or by bitching and putting a weird mood in the studio, and they ultimately will win with management because they're the boss. You know what I mean? So there's always a dynamic. So I kind of resented it, of course, because, you know, you never want to be in a position where somebody has power over you but act like they don't.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that you guys handled it all well. I mean, through everything that happened from Anthony on, even when Anthony was on here and we were talking to Anthony about what went on, and I agreed with your stance of, you know, the positive. Like, I know you discussed it in your last special when you were talking about how Anthony, at any time, Anthony was armed at the time, so it could have went way worse than it actually did.
Yeah.
And that was the perfect stance to take. You were absolutely right with that point. And Anthony even said it was something that got away from him and whatnot. But yet again, it was that break that needed to happen. Now, like, we all knew it needed to happen from what we're hearing, everything. But it seems like Opie thought that because they just recently talked they haven't talked to each other for like 2 years or whatever it was, and they recently finally talked. And Opie seemed to be under the impression that he was going to break up the Opie and Anthony show anyway. Did you get any inkling of that?
That wasn't what any of the fans thought.
Yeah.
And when the show first ended, he was saying how they were getting along better than ever. And then a year later, he said that they weren't getting along. So I don't know what the truth is. You'll have to ask him how he really felt about that, because I've heard two different versions. Mm-hmm. They didn't talk for 2 years. Anthony called in one day in the afternoon, and for some reason he was left on hold. I was not in that day. It was a surprise pop-up show in the afternoon. And Ant called in just to talk, and he was left on hold. But the first day that I was doing my show in the morning, we had Sam on, which was our first chance to get Anthony on the show. So we interviewed Anthony first thing on the show, and then that afternoon, Opie had him on the afternoon show. I don't know if Anthony called or if Opie called. I'm not sure how it worked, but they finally talked.
I think Anthony called in, but because I wanted to ask you about working with Sam Roberts and everything. It is the new morning show capable of doing more than the old morning show, more than the Opie and Jimmy show was, because who was putting the kibosh on Anthony calling in? Because it seemed like as soon as you guys took the air, it was like Anthony called in and everybody was happy and everybody was all, you know, laughing hysterically and going back to olden times and being happy.
Well, who was putting the kibosh on? Obviously, it was Opie.
Well, I mean, that's why I wanted to hear you say it, though, more than I wanted to say it.
Well, of course it was.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a secret. The bottom line is, everyone knew that I wanted Ant on the show. And again, Opie didn't get him fired. And I'm sure Opie did talk, as far as getting him on the show, I wanted him on the show badly. And all I know is I got a call one day in the afternoon from Keith the cop, who's Anthony's guy. And he goes, "What the fuck? Why isn't he picking up the call?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Because he thought I was in studio.
Yeah.
Like, again, once in a while, Opie would do a pop-up show in the afternoon. I wasn't on it, which was fine, because I would do pop-up shows with Sam sometimes, and he wasn't on it. Right. We were just happy to be doing without each other.
Yeah.
Because, again, it was mutual. It was both of us feeling that way. But then Anthony apparently was calling in, and then they went to a song and hung up. And then when Anthony called back, he was left on hold while they talked to Mick Foley. Anthony was just kind of left on hold and put on the pay no mind list. But then he called me thinking I was there, and I had no idea. So if I had my way, Anthony would have been on the show as soon as the company allowed. When me and Sam were talking about possibly doing a radio show, I said I talked to the management, I want to get Anthony on the show. He's the first guy I want on the radio show, so he was the first guest that we had. Yeah,
and it definitely, I think he's needed, not for your show, like he's not needed, like you guys can't hold it down, because I was saying this before we went to air, besides when I was blowing you, fucking telling you how great you were off the air as a comic, you're one of the reasons why you've actually, and I gotta give credit where credit's due, you've made me a better radio guy, because listening to you on the older episodes of the Opie and Anthony show, you made me Jim Norton right here, by the way, who will be at the Helium Comedy Club in Philadelphia, October 27th through the 30th.
Yes.
Made me a better radio guy because you taught me how to just come out there, balls out, and tell the story. Don't beat around the bush. Don't fucking. And it's how you present yourself on the radio. Like, you're a great radio guy. That's the thing that.
Oh, thank you.
And that's the thing. I don't think like you weren't meant to be a radio guy. You were meant to be a stand-up, and then magically you were thrust upon you. You were put into this position, and you ran with that fucking ball. A lot of guys don't get to run with that ball, and you ran with it well. What was that like? I mean, because we could dwell on what's going on now, but let's talk about the better times when you were brought in. You were brought in with Dice, right?
Yeah, back in 2000. Yeah, I mean, look, it was something I never saw myself doing. I never saw myself doing radio, but it just kind of happened. And when it did, I was really happy to do it because I finally started getting fans. And the fact that people responded, I was not prepared for that in my career. I just didn't see it coming. So, I mean, it's been so much fun, dude. It's such a fun gig to do.
Well, that's the thing. It comes off like you're having fun. That's the thing. And now even more so with you and Sam, it definitely comes off like you're having a lot more fun. Like it's more, you're more energized than you were before, it sounds like. You can hear it in your voice.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it more. I'm having a good time in the morning instead of dreading it. And, again, it's 50-50 because I'm sure I've seen Opie tweet that he's having a lot more fun in the afternoon than he was having either. So both of us needed the break. You know what I mean? You can't go into these situations and think, hey, I wasn't a problem at all. We both had issues with each other. And it felt like, and I've used this example, when the Opie and Anthony show broke up, look, we continue just because you want to work. You want to be employed. I love being on the radio. And it felt like a fucking car when the wheels come off at the end of a car chase. There's just the rims sparking up, as it's coming to an ugly slow. That was kind of how it felt. There was no personality to the show. It felt like there was no vibe, no point to it. It was just different guys coming in every day, so we didn't only have to talk to each other. It was one of those things. But the reality is, we gave it a shot. I'm not mad that we did because, again, I like performing. Opie likes performing. And Ant's doing fine with his thing. So, whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah, and that was one of the where you saw the writing on the wall when he started bringing in the other comics and not telling you, right?
Well, the bottom line was he would always do, we both usually, I have a Sam who would come in, but it kind of deferred to him. And there was a couple of instances where he would do things which I knew he would say, oh, it's just for the radio show. But I knew there was more to it than that, And again, he was the boss. He could do it, and he did it. And I responded, and he knew I was annoyed about it. So, I'm just happy to be in the situation I'm in now, where I'm actually working with someone, and we're both partners, and we're equal partners in it, and that's what I want.
Yeah, I think you and Sam do a great goddamn job. I think the show itself is a better presentation, to me, anyway.
Yeah, it's fun.
All right, so let's talk about other crap. Let's talk about my love for you, I think, is like you. I mean, it's only a fifth of your love for Ozzy.
Oh, thanks.
Because I love and respect you. I love everything you do. I have the same way you have autographs from Ozzy, and I have autographs from you. I have all your books and your videos, your DVDs, all that shit, autographed, everything else. Seeing you live the same way, But I honestly think that you're a stalker when it comes to Ozzy. But you became you became friends with him now. Now you're like part of the family. You, Sharon, and Ozzy are going to dinner and shit.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like, I was such a fan. I was never creepy. I was just literally an eager fan. And then I got to know Sharon, and then I got to know him. And I'm surprisingly good in those situations. Like, I really don't fanboy out.
Yeah.
Like, I've ridden to the show with him a few times where I've got to ride in the car with him, and we talk the whole ride. And then when we get to, like, the venue, I would walk into his dressing room, just drop off my stuff, and then I kind of walk out. I just hang out in the venue, and I just walk, you know what I mean? I talk to people out there, and I leave him alone. And then he does the show, and then afterwards I'm like, hey, man, great show. And then I go back with him. Like, I don't sit there and fucking just annoy him. Like, I really give him his space, and I think that's why he is cool with me coming along. Because, you know, you got to respect somebody's dressing room space. And if you do stay in there and talk, keep it fucking brief, and then give them all the room they need. You never want to be like, oh, Christ, this guy won't walk out.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's their show. I mean, it's Ozzy's gig. You're just there as a guest. I mean, you're hanging out.
Right.
Yeah, no, I understand. I mean, look, you don't hump his leg. You're definitely there, though. We know that you're there.
Yeah. And again, I just enjoy the show like everybody else. I don't watch from backstage. I always go out into the audience and watch. You know.
All right, wait. Billy, one of my other co-hosts, Billy has an Ozzy Boneyard question.
I do?
Well, you were about shitting in the toilet.
Oh, no. On one special where he has Ozzy sitting on the toilet there.
Oh, the intro thing?
Yeah. That was,
please be offended, yeah.
How did that come about? Where did that all come from?
I just asked Sharon. I'm like, do you think Ozzy should do this? I said, I want to shoot Ozzy introducing me. It's a one-page script. Always keep it a one-page script because then people will do it. Nobody minds when you hand them one page.
Right.
If it's a 3 or 4 page script, and I said he can hold the script, you know, behind a magazine or something, and she's like, well, he's away until April back then. And I'm like, okay, we shot that like before the special. And I'm like, where can we do it? She's like, come to our house. So I just went to their house.
Oh, that was Ozzy's shitter?
That was Ozzy's toilet.
Dude, that just trumped it up a little bit, yeah.
It was amazing. I walk in, and I see Ozzy in the kitchen getting his eye makeup and looking over the script. And we talk for a minute. And then I go in, I give him his time to get ready. He comes in, we do the script. I ask him if he minds dropping his pants to his underwear, and I forget that it's Ozzy Osbourne.
Right.
He's like, all right. He just drops him fucking naked into the toilet. And then afterwards, we're done shooting. It takes like 40 minutes. Sharon comes in, and she's like, why don't you take Jim downstairs and let him hear some of the new album? This was 2012.
Wow.
So the Sabbath was working on 13. So Ozzy took me into the basement and played God is Dead and End of the Beginning for me before. It's really amazing to hear new Sabbath with Ozzy. Like that's very rarely in life do you get chances like that.
That's fucking remarkable. That and you had
fun.
And let us not forget when you had Omar from The Wire, who had you bent over the bed naked with titties on your back.
Yeah, that was a fun one, too. And he licked my head. He goes, do you mind that I did that? He improv that. Michael K. Williams just licked my head. I'm like, no, it was great, dude. And he slapped me on the ass. None of that was in the script, but he really snuck in a couple of good ones.
And fucking Kenny.
I got to jump, dude. I got to jump. I got other press to do, and I'm about to piss my pants. I'm sitting in the office at work, and I have another phoner to do. I'm supposed to do it 11:15. And I'm already late for it.
Oh, go good. Jimmy, go.
To the bathroom.
Dude, absolutely. Go piss. I don't want you to piss your pants. We're not into that weird shit.
Thank you for being on
the
Ham Radio.
You guys are a fun show, man. You guys are a very fun show.
Dude, anytime you want to come back on, Jim, you have an open door. Trust me, dude.
Absolutely.
Anytime.
Thank you, man.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I appreciate it, and thank you for a fun interview.
There you go. Jim Norton, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Jimmy.
Take care, guys.
There you go. Go pee. Go ahead.
Thanks, brother.
Again, man.